today we'll be talking about CLI for Microsoft 365, and this is our 4th out of 5 demo series. And in this series, we'll be presenting you how CLI can boost your development. So basically allow you to manage your Entra apps, Entra ID apps, SPFX commands, SPO, and a lot more. So let's go. And before we start, so hi everybody, my name is Adam. I am standard dev, an MVP, part of the PMP core team member, maintainer of a couple of PMP products maybe you use and love. And do reach me out directly if you have any kind of questions. And today with me, a real rockstar of today's team, Martin. So Martin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everyone. A bit about myself. Martin Macháček, software engineer, based in Czech Republic. I work for a company called House. I'm contributing to the CLI for Microsoft 365. I have small contributions to the projects related to the Microsoft Graph API. You can catch me on X Twitter if you want. And today I'm going to talk about how to manage external connections and external items using the CLI. Thanks.
Awesome. So let's move on. And at the beginning of every Microsoft 365 development, there's always some Entra app registration, right? And CLI for Microsoft 365 has a bunch of commands that allow you to get, list, remove, set, and a lot more your Entra apps. And basically, it allows you to do all of the things you use that are usually done, like adding a new Entra app with the correct permissions, with, for example, with a certificate or the authentication methods you want. And how many of times you created an Entra app and then you lost it among a lot of Entra app registration you have on your dev tenant, and this one particular was connected to your current project you're currently developing. So either you look for it, a bunch of those you already have on your tenant, or you create a new one from scratch like I did. And for example, let's say you have an SPFX project that uses Azure Functions as your backend service, and you need an Entra app registration for this Azure function to authenticate your tenant, to do whatever. You created it, done your work, and after 1 month you want to change something, and you want to use the same app registration you've done before, but you lost it in your tenant among like hundreds you already have. So CLI has a solution to this problem. If you just add the save option when you're adding the Entra app, it will create an M365RC JSON in the context of your project. So this is the same file where CLI also keeps its context, and basically it's a simple list, so it allows you to save not one but many apps that are connected to your development. It has the app ID and the name, and then you can use the M365 app commands, not Entra app, but app, just after the M365 to, for example, open the Entra app ID with a single command or list its permission. So really cool to keep your all of your project details in single place, and and then don't lose this information to do it many times. More. Okay, so also CLI has commands that boost your SPFX development, which is really unique and something many similar CLI tooling doesn't have. For example, we have an SPFX doctor command that will validate if your local workspace is properly set up. So basically, if you are using the proper node version for the latest SPFX development, or the correct Yeoman generator, or the GOP CLI, and so on and so forth. We also have a command that will generate you an SPFX package with the HTML snippet you inject in it. So let's say we have a scenario that we need to create a web part that, of course, shows the weather in Amsterdam, as always. We need it to be a tenant-wide, allow it to be a tenant-wide deployed package, and also allow it to be exposed in Teams as a personal app. So what would you usually do? I would usually, go with the Yeoman generator and SPFX toolkit, scaffold a new project, a simple web part, add the HTML to present the weather in Amsterdam, bundle it, package, then deploy it. I also modify the configs to make it exposed to Teams, and so on and so forth. Well, with CLI, you can do it in a single line. Yeah, in a single line, and this is actually this line where you inject the HTML in the HTML option from a separate file, and you just press the allow tenant-wide deployment and enable it for Teams. And that's all. And it will give you a package ready to be deployed. We also have commands that are specific to SPFX projects. So those are M365 SPFX projects commands, and those need to be run in the context, in the place where you keep your SPFX project. For example, we have the project doctor command that will validate if the SPFX dependencies you have in your project are in the correct version for the SPF version you have in this SPFX project. We also have the upgrade, the permission grant, the rename commands, so many commands that support typical scenarios when managing SPFX project. For example, an upgrade command will give you the upgrade guidance, how to upgrade your current SPFX project from your current version to the latest or the version you specify. So this is really awesome because usually in Microsoft Docs, you see like a 1 or 2 liner when it's described that, okay, just update your dependencies to the latest one and off you go. It's not actually that easy. Sometimes you need to modify some config, add a new config, or remove some file to make it valid towards the latest SPFX version. And CLI will give you this guidance in a step-by-step manner. Not so long ago, we added 2 new commands to this bunch. So we added the GitHub workflow and the Azure DevOps pipeline add commands, which will scaffold you a YAM workflows or pipeline, depending for which one you target, that will basically bundle, package, and deploy your SPFX project to SharePoint. So this is really awesome. Those will just generate the YAM files. So after that, you need those to be commit and published and pushed to either GitHub or Azure DevOps and require some additional setup. But it basically gives you a starting point, and you don't need to be a YAM expert to have a CI/CD pipeline. You can run a single command and have a perfectly working workflow. And let's look at it. One of the typical scenarios, which really often used, the SPFX upgrade command. So here I am in Visual Studio Code. I have my SPFX project in the 1.17.4, and I would like to update it to the current latest GA version of SPFX. So I will run my SPFX project upgrade command in the context of my project. But as you can see, I specify the output tour, and this means that I won't get the guidance in a separate file, but I will get it as a code tour inside my project. So really awesome. Code tour is an additional extension you can install in VS Code. And then, as you can see, the output of this command is an tours folder with a new tour created for this SPFX project, and already the code tour extension has seen that this is added and points to me icons where there will be code tour steps specific to this line. So what I will get guidance steps that are, let's say, attached to a specific line in my project. So not in a separate file I need to go over, but inside my code in the context of my work. And in the code tour steps, I can see all of the steps, and for example, which are required or recommended, because not all steps need to be done to make it valid for the latest SPFX version. And of course, as a last step, it's recommended to delete the code tour to do a cleanup after you upgrade your project. So this is really awesome to have a step-by-step guidance inside VS Code in the context of your project and not in a separate file somewhere in docs. So be sure to give it a try if you're going to upgrade to the new version of SPFX. And of course, CLI has a bunch of commands that allow you to manage your SharePoint Online apps. So for example, we have all the add, deploy, get. So basically all of the operations you can think of that are done on the app catalog level and also on the site level. And we have dedicated commands that are dedicated for SPFX extensions like application customizer, add, set, get, and so on and so forth. And the same for the command set SPFX extension. And if you would like to be working on the tenant-wide deployed extensions, then you only need to add the word tenant between the SPO and the application customizer or the command set. And of course, SharePoint works better together with Teams. So CLI, of course, is also a command that will allow you boost your management of Teams apps. And we have the Teams app install, uninstall list, and publish commands. So those are the commands that are either on the specific team or user level or on the whole organization app catalog level. Yeah. And with that said, I've done my part, and now I'll pass my voice to the real rock star, Martin, who will show you how you can use CLI to bring your external data to Microsoft 365 with CLI for Microsoft 365. So Martin, the stage is yours.
Yes, thank you. Let me just share my screen. Yeah, so external connection. What is it? External connection is a feature inside the Microsoft Graph API that allows you to bring any data from your organization and make the data discoverable in Microsoft Search, Microsoft 365 Copilot, or Microsoft 365 app. And when there are 4 basic steps when working with external connections. The first step is to create an Entra ID application with limited permissions, so the application can only manage external connection and external items. The CLI has command Entra app add with several options. The options base application, it's a list of application permissions. Grant admin consent flag ensures that permissions are granted through the admin consent, and the option with secret will generate a new client secret which can be used later for authorization. The second step is to create external connection using the command external connection add, where you specify ID, name, and description of your external connection. And once you have created the external connection, you need to create a schema which will describe your data. Imagine a schema as a list of properties you want to add to the connection. Each property has its name, data type, aliases, labels. You declare which properties are searchable, queryable, retrievable, etc. But creating schema is a long-running operation, and it usually takes several minutes until the schema is provisioned. And with wait option, the command will periodically check the status and finish once the schema is provisioned. And the last step, adding items using the command external item add. Maybe I would like to highlight the option ACLS, access control list, where you set up who has access to an item and can see the item in the search results. The access can be without any limitation or limited to a specific user or specific group. The options you specify will map to the external item properties. Let's say the schema has property prop1, so the option prop1 will set the value of the prop1 property of the external item. Here some overview what's currently supported for external connections, like adding, retrieving, and removing connection. Very useful command, external connection doctor. It performs several checks if the external connection is correctly configured for use with a specified user experience like Microsoft Search or Microsoft 365 Copilot. Now so we have time, so I will show you a quick demo. I've created an external connection of CLI contributors in advance. Okay. The schema of the external connection is simple. It has property ID, name, email, and role. The role can be either maintainer contributor. Yeah, and we can search people by name or email and filter them by role. So here is my PowerShell script where you can see all the 4 steps. I mentioned it before. Like the first step, yeah, log in as an admin and create Entra application with limited permissions. Permissions define it here. External connection, read write, and external item, read write. Option with secret to generate a default client secret. And flag grant admin consent. Logout. In the next command, I will use the tenant ID, application ID, and secret generated before to log in. Application. Here, some ID for my connection. Yeah, step 2, create external connection add, where you specify ID, name, description. Step 3, defining schema. Yeah, so my connection has properties ID, name, and email. These properties are searchable, retrievable. The last property, role, is queryable. It means that I can filter items by these properties. Here is the command, external connection schema add, and wait option. And for step adding items, it's hard coded, but you can see, so well, the schema contains property name. So to set the value, I specify it the option name and value. Role maintainer, and here ACLS access control list. So in this case, like everyone can see the item in the search result. And the result, I will share Graph Explorer, which is a developer tool to test Microsoft Graph APIs. On the left, there are some sample queries. So here under the search, sample query to search external items. Yeah, so URL, it, post, request body. I will modify, add it. So I will use my connector. I will modify the fields, the properties to be returned. I don't care about IDs. So name, email, and row. Query string star. Well, it means that all items will be returned. Expand. Yeah. can see all contributors. Let's say I want to find contributors by name. So, for example, Adam or Aldec. Louis. Query. And yeah, you can see the result. Adam, Aldec, and Luisa. Maybe I can show you, like as I mentioned it, the property role support filtering, so I can filter contributors by the role. So let's say I want to return only maintainers. Oh, total 7. Yeah, that's strange for some reason. Sometimes it returns.
Martin, just a word of a warning. Timing.
Yeah,
we
that was
need to start.
That was last example.
Cool.
So
cool. I guess that's it, Chris.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So that's it.
Martin, please.
Today,
yeah, feel free to close up. Sorry.
Yes, that was. So that is for today about the CLI for Microsoft 365. But don't worry, next demo, Adam will talk about advanced usage of CLI. And meanwhile, you can join Discord server, follow the CLI team on X. You can join Microsoft 365 and platform community. And of course, you can check the docs to read more about the commands we presented today. Thanks.
Awesome. Just wanted to add that one more word. This was the first time Martin was presenting on the PNP community call. So just a round of applause for him and a huge congrats. So okay, and back to you, Chris.
All right. Well, thank you both very much. Great demos today. Really appreciate it. And if you'd like to provide some feedback on what you've heard today or what you want to see in the future, whether that's the structure or the content and all that stuff, please fill us out. We do read them and we really appreciate it. And again, I mentioned this Discord community. Come join us there if you want to continue the conversation here, ask questions with experts or other people in the field that are doing this stuff. And maybe those are sometimes the same people. That'd be great. Then you can continue the conversation in Discord over here. And then finally, this call, as always, will be posted to YouTube within 24 hours. Don't click the link here in the chat. It will be there. And yeah, thanks so much. We love it. Woo! Check it out later. Bye. Wow.